Hello and welcome to UFO Video News Now. Let me give you a quick preview of what I got coming up in this video. This is actually going to be a review of the STS-75 mission here, where let's see, where a lot of people have said that these little organic creatures or some type of plasma being was recorded in space. And I wanted to revisit that because of this new scientific research paper that I recently came across. This came out in February of 2024, but it actually talks about extraterrestrial life in the thermosphere, plasma, UAP, pre-life, a fourth state of matter. And this, like I said, this initially came about from the STS-75 mission, but apparently there have been other missions where the astronauts have talked about seeing some type of creature, unidentified aerial phenomena. These plasma may account for at least some of the anecdotal UAP sightings. These plasma have been filled swarming toward and congregating by the hundreds around satellites, generating electromagnetic activity in the thermosphere. And that is the STS-75 mission. So I'm going to go over this little incident here again, because like I said, because of this new paper that just came out in February. But anyways, if you appreciate the time and effort that I put into bringing this information to you, please give this video a thumbs up. Please share this video, and more importantly, please subscribe. But anyways, let's get into this STS-75 mission. Now, the initial mission, again, I know some people may have already know about this, but this is for some of the newbies or people that are unfamiliar with this. This happened. Let's see, when was it? Well, this video here came out 11 years ago, but this is a STS mission, or STS-75, where NASA was testing some type of energy collector. They were going to untether this device here and try and collect like plasma or ionized energy that was coming off of the sun. But what happened is they miscalculated the amount of energy that it was going to generate, and it ended up burning off where it was connected to the shuttle, because so much energy had gone through that. But in this, let me just turn this down here. This video here shows after the tether.
And Jeff, we're tracking it with the radar, and we do read zero tension.
This is where what broke off. Now, mind you, they know that this thing is 12 miles long. Now, let me just jump ahead, so you can see.
On that.
So this is the actual structure.
Okay. Well, we had a visual on the satellite up until, in all the excitement, somebody bumped the camera.
Okay. Now, remember in this here. Okay. Now in this shot here, right? This is 12 miles worth of material here that starts floating out into space. Now, in this shot, they're filming in natural light. Okay, they're filming right what the naked eye sees. But when they switch over to UV light, that's when you see all of these plasma creatures. Now, again, this is just to show you, what this structure actually looks like. This is a close-up. You can see some metal tension cables or something like that here. Let me just jump ahead. So here you can see how this thing is constructed, right? Now this is the end, right, where, this is the far end that's going out into space. And remember, the other end is connected to the space shuttle. But like I said, it breaks off. I'm not too sure. So this, I'm not, you can see a break there, but I think that's just some kind of wire that But here you can see it, connected to the space shuttle. And like I said, after they unravel this entire thing, it's 12 miles, and then it burns here, right here where it's connected. It generated so much power that it ended up frying and floating out into space, right? So,
Because every time.
okay, so that's the the
It's getting
backstory.
washed out quickly, but Claude is trying to do a quick, good job here adjusting the camera.
So now this footage here is being filmed in the UV light, right? The ultraviolet. And, a lot of times you can also see some different beings in the infrared light, but these creatures actually show up in the ultraviolet light, right? And you can see this thing, how, it's generating some type of energy.
That description by the crew, this is the tether in the satellite with 12,
Yeah, now look at this thing here.
approximately
Right.
12
Now,
miles.
initially, a lot of people thought these were UFOs, right? These were gigantic UFOs. Now, mind you, since, they know that this thing is 12 miles long, this is like having a giant ruler out in space. So they're able to determine the size of these things. Now, in this report here, it says that these things are only like a meter, or a kilometer. Plasma up to a kilometer in size, which is like 0.6 miles, right? Half a mile. But according to some of these other people who have done serious analysis, these things are anywhere from 2.5 to 5 miles wide. Now, I also want to show you this video here. Oh, actually, before I get to that, let me show you some of these other photos or some of these other videos of these creatures that have been filmed in space. Now, this is footage taken by Story Musgrave. He sees, what he calls snakes in space. Now, this is from STS-61. Let me just back this up a little and go full screw. I'm going to leave it just right there.
Sort of brings to you really a
you can
certainty.
see this little being here. It's kind of out of focus, but it'll come into focus.
That other living creatures are out there. Some incredibly primitive, more primitive. Some just proteins coming together, amino acids, and some just single cellular organisms. And other civilizations have been around for a million years that are doing unimaginable kinds of things.
Yeah, now you can see this thing undulating and moving. Oh, here it is right here. You can see. Where's that? Where's that? Oh, yeah, here we go, right here. Okay, so that's what Story Musgrave captured. And then also, there have been people who have filmed these strange jellyfish-shaped UFOs filmed in the sky. Now, I don't believe these are like, mechanical. I think these are actually...
This mysterious object was spotted in the skies.
living beings.
It resembles a jellyfish, with a solid dome-shaped upper section and long tentacles streaming down below it. At first, many believed this could be a kite, but the tentacles don't appear to have any movement whatsoever, and the entire object seems to be quite solid, floating in the sky for several minutes.
Now, there have been many reports of, these creatures coming down. The whole Foo Fighter things. Now, I think some of those Foo Fighters were actually those metallic plasma UFOs. But there have been other incidences where pilots have reported seeing, what looked to be something organic, something living like a creature as opposed to something mechanical. And here's another photo. Now, I have no idea whether, this is a cloud formation or, it may be a actual craft. But it could also be, one of these entities that live in low Earth orbit. So there's that, and then there's also here, this is another one of these, jellyfish-like UFOs. And then, here's a crop circle representation of these things. All right, so let's go back to this STS 71 or 75.
Tether still attached to it. Columbia and the satellite are now just passing over the west coast of northern Africa.
Now, let me just jump ahead. You can see here's a further shot. The number of these things.
A lot more contrast visible. And how wide does that tether appear to be? It seems to resemble a much wider strand than we did.
Now, this video here is a video that I have been searching for literally years. All right, this is one of those videos where, it came out 13 years ago, but let's say 10 years ago, right? I used to be able to just type in STS-75 tether incident tracking, UFO tracking, and this video would pop up. Now it literally took me an hour to find this video. I just had to keep scrolling down, through a bunch of videos to finally get to this. And you notice, this thing came out 13 years ago. And, this guy only has 300 subscribers. And then again, this actual video here has only been seen just over 1,000 times in 13 years. And it's because, videos like this, YouTube suppresses. But anyways, what I want to show you with this is how this is, this flight path thing, it tracks the velocity and the speed of these entities or creatures or whatever you want to call them. To me, I think there's some type of space cows. But this thing here tracks the velocity, right? The longer the trail, the faster the object is moving. If the tail behind this thing is short, it means that, these things are moving slower. But anyways, check this out. Yeah, so you can see how, right, the entities with the longer tails means that they're moving faster. Right, and you can also see, these things are making turns. And then there are also some that will just materialize. Here, like stop and change direction. Look at that. Yeah, and so to me, this is like organic movement. It's not anything mechanical. And again, this straight line, that's the tether. Again, remember, like I said, this is that 12-mile tether. Look at that thing. Look at that thing making that turn. Stable sequence number 2, 53 seconds raw footage shown here. Now this is 3 times playback speed. Right, yeah, this footage has definitely been sped up. This is not normal. But you can see, the number of these things. All right, and remember, like I said, this is being filmed in the UV light. So anyways, so that's, that's the backstory. Now let's go to this new paper that just recently came out from the Scientific Research, Extraterrestrial Life in the Thermosphere, Plasma UAP Pre-Life Fourth State of Matter. It says abstract, plasma up to 1 kilometer in size and behaving similarly to multicellular organisms have been filmed on 10 separate NASA space shuttle missions over 200 miles above Earth within the thermosphere. These self-illuminated plasma are attracted to and may feed on electromagnetic radiation. They have different morphologies: cone, cloud, donut, spherical, cylindrical, and have been filmed flying towards and descending from the thermosphere into thunderstorms, congregating by the hundreds and interacting with satellites, generating electromagnetic activity. Approaching the space shuttles. Computerized analysis of the flight path trajectories documents these plasmas travel at different velocities from different directions and change their angle of trajectory, making 45, 90, and 180 degree shifts and follow each other. They've been filmed accelerating, slowing down, stopping, congregating, engaging in hunter-predatory behavior, and intersecting plasmas, leaving a plasma dust trail in their wake. Similar lifelike behaviors have been demonstrated by plasma created experimentally. Plasma had been photographed in the 1940s by World War II pilots identified as Foo Fighters, repeatedly observed and filmed by astronauts and military pilots, and classified as unidentified aerial anomalous phenomenon. Plasmas are not biological, but may represent a form of pre-life that, via the incorporation of elements common in space, could result in the synthesis of RNA. Plasmas constitute a fourth state of matter, are attracted to electromagnetic activity, and when observed in a lower atmosphere, likely account for many of the UFO UAP sightings over the centuries. Now, yeah, that I could believe, but this, I think, what they're actually trying to say is that these things aren't like living or don't have a consciousness of their own. I think that, this is trying to make the argument that these things are just a congregation of dust and particles that somehow resemble, a biological life, which is nonsense. Right? Plasma are not biological. See right here, but represent a form of pre-life that, via the incorporation of the elements common in space, could result in the synthesis of RNA. That makes no sense to me. I think these things are some type of independently minded biological entities, similar to, herds of cows, which is why I say these things are some type of space bovine. Let's see. What is this? A document? As documented in this report, these plasma-like entities have been photographed congregating in the thermosphere above and diving into massive thunderstorms below, gathering around satellites, generating electromagnetic pulses in the space medium. Yeah, maybe they feed off electricity in these thunderstorms. Approaching and appearing outside the windows of NASA's space shuttles, changing velocity and direction, and making sudden 45-degree to 90-degree turns, and following and even colliding and intersecting one another. Now, I'm going to get to the part where NASA tries to act like it's nothing. Let's see. Here, let's see. These plasma may have been first photographed in the 1940s, identified as Foo Fighters by U.S., Japanese, and German pilots, and observed by astronauts beginning in the 1960s. It may have been recently filmed by military pilots and classified as unidentified aerial phenomenon. Given the attraction to electromagnetic and other powerful sources of energy and their responsiveness to radio signals and sources of heat, it is likely these plasma may account for at least some of the anecdotal UAP sightings, as report was recorded by the U.S. Department of Defense Unidentified Anomalous Reporting System over nuclear power plants. The areas above and surrounding Hiroshima and Nagasaki, destroyed by atomic bombs in 1945, and Fukushima Prefecture, site of a major nuclear power plant accident in 2011. And for numerous reports of UAPs approaching and following airplanes. Yeah, they're trying to conflate these creatures with actual UFOs that are being piloted by our advanced neighbors. But anyways, these plasma have been filmed swarming towards and congregating by the hundreds around satellites, generating electromagnetic activity in the thermosphere, and observed approaching and appearing outside the windows of NASA space shuttles For example, STS-75, while filming these plasmas, recorded a garbled conversation with NASA's mission control and reported that plasma was approaching the shuttle. NASA dismissed the sightings as just reflections. The STS-75 commander disagreed. "I'm looking out in front of the orbiter. No, there are 3 objects. The one down at the bottom is the one we initially saw. It started over window 8, then quickly moved towards the upper windows. We tracked it through windows 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and now it's outside window 5. It's moving away." And then Mission Control changed the subject. Yeah, you see how NASA, right, doesn't want them talking about these things. But obviously, according to this guy, he seems to think that, that it was basically observing them through the windows, going through the different windows before moving away. STS-115 reported and filmed a similar encounter, the commander describing them as translucent, flexible, not a solid object, metallic but not made of metal, and giving off light and glowing. Before NASA's Mission Control again changed the subject, the STS-115 commander states, "The best way I can describe it as some kind of reflective cloth, some type of metallic-looking type of cloth, a structure which is definitely not rigid. It's not solid. It's not a solid metal structure." Not a solid metal structure rules out wreckage and space junk, as does the ability to change shape and direction, speed up and slow down, and produce a glowing illumination within which a nucleus void can often be discerned, as illustrated by freeze-frame photographs. From STS film footage provided to the first author by NASA following a Freedom of Information request. Fact is, these UAP were observed by U.S. astronauts hurtled into space in the 1960s, for example, oval shape like a series of ellipses. Prior to the littering of space with any spacecraft or satellite wreckage, observations rules out space junk. On May 15th, 1963, while riding a Mercury capsule on its final orbit of a 22-orbit journey around the world, astronaut Gordon Cooper reported a glowing greenish object that was rapidly approaching. On June 4th, 1965, astronauts Ed White and James McDivitt spotted a huge metallic object approaching the Gemini orbiter. In December of 1965, Gemini astronauts James Lovell reported a bogey at 10 o'clock high. Capcom, this is Houston. Say again, 7. Lovell, we have a bogey at 10 o'clock high. Capcom, Gemini 7, is that the booster or is that an actual sighting? Lovell, we have several actual sightings. We also have the booster in sight. So here it is. Yeah, this astronaut Lovell is telling them, look, we're seeing UFOs. And NASA is trying to say, well, is that the booster? And he's like, no. We see several of these objects, and we also see the booster. So again, yeah, so now this whole paper here, right, basically concludes, yeah, that there are actual living. Well, I guess they're not saying that they're living. They're just saying that there's some type of plasma being that, I don't think they want to say that they're, intelligent or somewhat intelligent beings out there. Okay, so let's look at some of these photographs. This is from the STS-75, right? It says electrified satellite tether, 12 miles in length, approached by plasma. Freeze frame STS footage, plasma-like entities up to 1 kilometer in size. Freeze frame processes via photo in the thermosphere. Yeah, here's the hole, the donut-shaped hole. And yeah, these plasma are pulsating. Oh yeah, so here's some photographs, right? Like I said, of the tracking, which actually shows their movement and their the velocity or their speed. Here, attraction to thunderstorms, UAP in the lower atmosphere. Now, there have been, photographs of something, some type of, craft or entity in storm clouds, thunder clouds, many, many times. So like I said, initially NASA tried to say that these were just ice particles, and there have been people who have put out videos, debunking STS-75, which again, if you watch those videos, you have to do like mental gymnastics in order to accept some of their nonsense. But anyways, yeah, this paper is out there, Extraterrestrial Life in the Thermosphere, Plasma UAP Pre-Life, Fourth State of Matter. Like I said, I think, this article or this paper is really trying to push people towards the idea that this is, not, I mean, it's definitely some type of entity, but it's not like, they're not individually conscious beings that, they're trying to say that this is just dust particles coming together and just coming together and behaving like biological entities. But supposedly it's really not. At least that's what I get out of this article. I mean, I don't know, if anyone else wants to go through it and they think differently, definitely put it in the comments. But anyways, thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. Like I said, if you appreciate the time and effort I put into bringing this information to you, please like this video, please share this video, and more importantly, please subscribe. Until next time, take care.